One of the world's largest personal electronic shows is underway in Las Vegas right now. The Consumer Electronics Show, or CES, attracts companies from across the world to showcase the latest technology. Chinese companies are presenting cutting-edge technologies in different fields, ranging from AI to robotics. As this year marks the beginning of China's 15th five-year plan, strengthening the development of AI is one of the most significant tasks during the five-year period. How will China's AI ambitions shape its economic blueprint and global competitive edge? What could we anticipate about AI technological development? Let's loop in our panelists. Joining us, Gai Keke, professor at the Cyberspace and Science and Technology with Beijing Institute of Technology, and also Amar Yunus, AI governance, tech law, and a compliance advisor. How important it is for scholar, technicians, and also innovators to interact with one another, such as an event like CES or elsewhere in the world. How important it is for people in the circle to be updated about the latest trends in order to make the best judgment and assessment.
What stands out to me is how this event is evolving over the past couple of years. It is no longer about just consumer gadgets, but it is also about whole AI ecosystem, about robotics, medical technologies, and the practical manifestation of theoretical AI. So the intelligent infrastructures are developing, and the innovators are bringing their products to such events and showcasing them to the world. It also shows that how AI is moving from just a software into some of the physical and tangible product for everyday use. At the same time, the events like this also remind us that innovation is not just enough. We shouldn't just focus on the products, but also should focus on the technology's governance, how the technologies are governed and how they are scaled responsibly and integrated into the society.
We have seen, of course, this is also a stage for some of the biggest names coming from the business world and also coming from the academic world, an interface for them to interact with one another, isn't it, Amar?
Yes, actually, there is a huge communication gap between different stakeholders, but events like this provides an opportunity to bridge between academia and industry, and not only about academia and industry, but the government and the policymakers, which are often ignored when there is a very applied focused kind of conference like this. I'm particularly watching some of the products which are coming from the applied scientists kind of background, but the policymakers and the governments are taking strong interest into them because ultimately these are the futuristic tools which will provide the strong governance to the countries.
Right.
So there are many policymakers and the government officials which are also visiting and hunting for the products which can provide a positive societal impact for their countries.
We see it is the private sector, for example, DeepSeek, that really open the eyes of the rest of the world about where China is when it comes to artificial intelligence at the very beginning of 2025. So is China's approach that different as you described, or actually both the private and the government supported initiatives are both going on and seems to bear fruits?
Oh, well, to respond to this question, I think this actually more complicated than it seems to be. For the development of AI technology, we actually have like a lot of support. For example, as I mentioned, from our government. On the other side, from a lot of support from enterprises, and some are from like research institutes, for example, universities or research institutes. Actually, the investment in the fields of AI also differs from like investments in traditional technology fields currently. The development of AI requires a broad environment of interdisciplinary collaboration across, for example, academic disciplines, industries, and talent pools. So this is reflected the fact that many professors and students in AI departments at the universities, Chinese universities, come from like diverse professional backgrounds. So this is also to better serve the development of AI technology.
AI startup Hugging Face reported that China developed open source AI models made up of more than 17% of global downloads over the years, surpassed the US share of 15.8% for the very first time. Of course, one number it cannot describe the whole picture, but we are seeing quite an interesting phenomenon or quite an interesting situation ongoing, Amar.
They are not just the meaningful achievements for a country, but also shows us that how the whole ecosystem is working and how the technology is representing itself structurally. China is performing very well in terms of ranking and ratings as well. We clearly see the areas such as artificial intelligence, green technologies, advanced manufacturing, material sciences, medical sciences, and so on, that they are not isolated kind of technologies which are being developed in isolated laboratories, but they are directly linked to the industrial and societal applications. And at the policy levels, there is a strong monitoring mechanisms which are keeping these things on track. So what matter now is not simply maintaining the scale of manufacturing of the technology and focusing on the ranking, but also to ensure that the innovation continues to translate into inclusive and high quality development and global contribution.
Latest number coming out, according to the Global Innovation Index 2025 released by the World Intellectual Property Organization, China for the very first time broke into the top 10 of this ranking. Now, how serious do you think scholars like you will take these rankings, while at the same time, what is the potential you think China has in contributing even more in the world of AI for the rest of the world?
Well, the data you mentioned actually suggests China's approach, investment, and achievements in the field of AI. So this is, as I mentioned, inseparable from our government support. Also, industry development and continuous breakthroughs in core technologies. From a strength perspective, I believe that our biggest advantage is that we have achieved a closed loop in the AI industry, enabling us to independently solve problems across all industry sectors or segments. Actually, the capabilities of our AI products are consistently iterating and upgrading, so, which is a very positive sign. I think in the future we may still need to address some challenges such as talent development and the production of core hardware components. Moreover, as you mentioned, actually China broke into the top 10. So this is very good news, and we for me, I observed that Beijing, Shanghai, Shenzhen actually they actually considered to be innovation hubs or cluster efforts. In Beijing's Zhongguancun, many companies inherit the spirit of Zhongguancun, which is the original innovation. In Shanghai, we see many AI companies focusing on applications.
This year, 2026, we're likely to see some of the biggest names here in China, in the United States, or elsewhere in the world, are likely to go public. For example, Anthropic, for example, OpenAI, just to name a few. How do you see the ecosystem, Amar, as you mentioned earlier, the part of it which is between the capital and the innovation? Where are we heading for?
The distinction is clear for the academicians and for applied scientists. I don't think that the most important breakthrough will be in terms of how large or the scalability of the model you will develop. Instead, I think that it will be more specific and the task-oriented technologies. The AI agents has become a buzzword. So the emergence of more reliable and specialized AI systems that can operate safely can be predicted in upcoming years with the complex real-world applications. So the companies which will perform better in making these targeted AI and the models, they will succeed. And China is already doing much better when it comes to the comparison. We have already seen early examples in healthcare, material sciences, different industries, energies, efficient domains. Now there is a huge discussion about the green technologies emerging from China, allowing them to support the decision making rather than just generating big technologies, or in terms of large language models. Focus is not only on generating content but on what sort of output these models are performing in terms of the content as well as their societal and
Right.
ecological impact.